Good morning, blue overtone night. We are today dreamers. The divine is dreaming us. The divine is dreaming itself through us. We are created in the image of the divine. We are dreamers, and our creative potential is activated in dream time. I'm done. Oh. What more is there to say? It's so simple. And yet, I woke up this morning aware of my own limitation of being very much too much in rationality, the sort of prison of the rational thought paradigm. Rational is good, rational is important, make no mistake, but only rational is too square. It's, for me, I often notice that spending too much time in spaces that are completely dominated by 90-degree angles everywhere I look, from cupboards to walls to doors to shelves to books to windows. Yikes. I mean, have we ever 90-degreed ourselves? And then you look into nature and you'll be hard-pressed to find a true 90-degree angle. And if you find one, the chances are that in its hook, in its corner, it's round. This is a very, very masculine, I consider this a very masculine 90-degree angle. It's a very straight lines. I mean, everything is a straight line over here. Every 90-degree angle is linked to another 90-degree angle by a straight line. Like, hello. Whew. We have a lot of plants in this room, and they break the madness. I mean, you can have a 90-degree, very clean space. It can be very beautiful. I'm not bashing 90 degrees, but when that's all there is, when there is an excess of anything, show me a 90-degree angle on our body. I mean, yes, I can take my arms out to the side in a 90-degree angle, but it doesn't get stuck there. It's just one of many options. And the other thing I realized this morning was that I spend far too much time in beta brainwave states. I'm feeding myself too much information. I need to take a digital detox. And you know what? Yeah, I'm not there yet. It's a bit of a scary thought. Like, oof, can I kick my dopamine addiction? Like, I have a watch later playlist on YouTube that is hundreds of videos deep. And I want to take a moment to appreciate my curiosity, to appreciate my interest in whatever thing I'm interested in, whatever things. I really like that. I like that about me, and I like being curious. I like exploring the world. I like that. It's fun. I enjoy that. So, not only shadow work. So, what is this blue night, dream, intuition, abundance, dream time, emotional inner landscapes, feeling, subjective reality, darkness. What does that have to do? Why is that in the position of 5, center, radiant, command, in the wave spell of auto-generate, catalyze, energize, or energy? Energy. Everything is energy. Why on earth do we not have the seed, focus, blossoming, potential, flowering on tone 5? Or the wind, communicate, spirit, or the dragon, birth, nurture, being? Why is that not radiant command center of auto-generate, what to say, catalyze energy? Huh? I can see how it could be fun to go through 19 signs and explain why that is not there. Oh man, why didn't I go to school? Why didn't I get to go to school? These are absolutely redundant questions, but they're fun. Why didn't I go to school in a school system where I enjoyed learning and exploring like I do now? Is that possible? Yeah. Oh yeah, and I think this is the child in me. This is the exploring, curious, interested in life child in me, which is why I love coming here. It puts me into some trouble when it brings me so into it brings up the contrast certainly since the world bridge or wave spell of where I'm not living this kind of yes to life, yes, curiously exploring new territory. It brings me face to face with my own, the elements of myself that are stuck, feel stuck. We're answering our question. Where I feel stagnant, where there's no energy to explore, where there's no energy, where I don't dream, where I feed myself almost incessantly, almost obsessively, almost compulsively is the word I'm looking for. Almost compulsively. I'm being very honest here. Oh man, I might regret this. Almost compulsively information that yes, I'm interested in. Yes, it's all good. But it's like, I mean, you can kill yourself drinking too much water. You know, it's like, it's not that the water is not the problem. People kill themselves because the AI encourages them or whatever, ChatGPT encourages them. You know, like, is ChatGPT the problem or what? You know, I mean, we can just suddenly we crawl out of the woodwork. If we have so many problems on this planet, we should be dealing with. This is not exactly one of them. But in any case, in my humble opinion, which is not so humble, but in any case, like somewhere there is an avoidance happening in me. I've mentioned it before. And feeding myself information is really, it tickles my, it and here's the thing. This, you know, one of the mechanisms of addiction. And I mentioned a while ago that I wanted to explore addiction a little bit, as I find it a very, very fascinating topic. And we are in the field of auto-generating energy, catalyzing, catalyst. And then dream time. Addiction. And most of us are somehow. Most of us, who are we? Who am I referring to? Us in the Western world should not make the us too broad, because the earth is a big, big place. But in this industrialized world, where we have been told and bought into it, hook, and sinker, what is that saying? What we should dream, what we should want. I mean, my God, talk about mind control. You tell people what they should want. You should tell people what they should aspire to, what they should dream of, what success means. And isn't it very interesting how in the industrialized Western world, the longer the world has been that way, there are some third world nations on this planet or some other nations on this planet where this industrial Western way of life hasn't been around for that long. They're not as deep into it yet. They're still maybe some are excited about the process, but those of us who live in the world where that's been around a long time, we're deeply exhausted. And we're deeply, I generalize of course, I think though I'm not far off. We're deeply exhausted. We are disillusioned. We are addicted. We are sicker than we may have ever been. Yeah, maybe we have some achievement in living longer, but what is our quality of life actually? Yes, there are many people. It's not true that all are, but there's a, like, maybe as from the age of 50, there's a really serious split. Some are getting older and are very fit and healthy, and some are getting older and are very much not that. And there's a bit in between, but there's, quite a trajectory, and we, addiction, we get addicted very often because okay, big topic. Very early on, we get steered early in life. And the Western industrial world is all about that. The school system was not created out of some altruistic idea that people will be better off with education. A lot of us aren't really realizing that yet. Especially, it's part of the paradigm how important education is. I'm not saying it's not. Make no mistake. I question the kind of education we're giving ourselves, and I question that the benefits outweigh the way it's hurting us. Of course, the entire system, we're looking at the Western industrial world, which is it has a dominance on this earth. So you may have a disadvantage if you can't read or write in that world. If you're living in your traditional piece of the world, like in your jungle or in wherever people live, and I'm not talking about, there are people who live in an industrialized world, who live in poverty, who can't read or write, who are in that world, of course, terribly disempowered. But in the natural environments, the indigenous, who may not read or write, they have skills we don't even understand. And they need those skills in their world. They do not need to read or write or do arithmetic or follow our kind of logic. What does that serve you if you don't know how to, it's context dependent. But if we get pressed into school so that we become machine workers, so that the body gets trained very early to sit still for hours, to follow authority, to believe what you're being told to believe. Scientific worldviews can be no less indoctrinating than some religious worldviews, and no less imprisoning. But I'm bashing the system, but I'd like to see, now you're not just complaining, my mom always says, people complain, and nobody gives a suggestion for something better. Learning Western logical thinking by all means, right? Reading, writing, mathematics, learn to use this, this is a computer we've got. It has a lot of modalities that the school system doesn't address. For example, art is a tiny, you have one lesson of drawing in a week, but 3 or 4 of the language, 3 or 4 of maths, 3 or 4 of science. There should be art every day, music every day, sport every day, and then some, arithmetic and some, and you can combine maths and art. You can combine maths and music. You can combine language, art, and music. You can combine these things. It doesn't need to be taught so separately. So, what is it? Social sciences for sure, natural sciences, environmental sciences, economics. Of course, we should be taught how the money system works, which we're not. We should be taught how to have relationships, how to relate to ourselves, how to understand psychology, how to be human, kind, not because we don't want to, not out of fear, not for fear of punishment, or not to be needed to be seen as a good person, not because of moral code, but because it's just nice to be kind. But you also need to know how to defend your boundaries or whatever, I mean, I could say a lot about that. And then the way we learn, there are brilliant minds on this planet. And I wonder if I can find that interview, and I wonder if it's in English. There's a very, very, very brilliant guy, an Austrian, who has come up with a fantastic school system, a way to teach these children are so intelligent, so smart, they're so able to learn because the way, not the what, but the way and the how, the how that he engages the children and activates their desire to learn, their curiosity, their ability to retain through also making sense and playfulness and what. He's got it all worked out and super successful. Does it get used in the wider system? No. And we are sorely mistaken when we think the systems we're living in, the governmental, educational, blah blah systems in the Western world are here to serve. This is our idea of democracy, like government for the people, like what? Think again, but never mind, I didn't just say that out loud. Anyhow, I'm slightly opinionated here, as you might be able to tell. We have veered off the topic of addiction. When we get removed, when our pleasure seeking is, for example, the instinct to pleasure seek needs to be learned, to be understood, and to be, I want to say, harnessed. When we teach, I learned this technique called the trust technique. It's a healing. It's a way. It's a technique that brings animals and their humans into a cooperative alliance. So whether it's horses or dogs or whatever, you cooperate with them. You never force them into, you don't break their will and force them into compliance. And it's very beautiful, and it really builds the relationship. And when I've spoken about this before, when I heard the advertisement for this course, I was like, oh my God, I need this. This is me and me. I've learned this, force myself to comply with myself, because I've come through this system where you do what we say. And I also recommend the documentary Alphabet, where they really show how through the Western school system we lose as much as 97% of our creative potential. Not every child, but most. And it's hurting. It's hurting us socially. So it's hurting us individually, because it's halting our progress. It's kind of like putting blocks into our collective evolution. And I'm wanting to dream, and I'm dreaming a world into being where the school system changes, where the children and a lot of ADHS kids, they are rebelling. They're like, we will not have this. We cannot have this. Please do not force us into not moving our minds, our bodies, our curiosity. And we are becoming aggressive because of this. We are trying to signal, in as much as our cancer on the planet, it's a signal. Our depression, our addictions, it's a signal. It's not the individuals only that have whatever. They are a part of the collective, and the collective is sick if such a large part of it is sick. I am part of that collective. I am part of this, the collective human body. My human body is suffering through everyone who struggles through whatever all these illnesses are. I mean, my goodness, how many do we have? Like, it's incredible and it's insane. And it's not getting seemingly any better. So we need collective healing. These people, I spoke about it like yesterday, Epstein files, whatever is real about it and whatever is not. Have a lot of questions around that. But let's take it at face value. Whatever is going on, and I can imagine anything on this planet going on. I mean, if we are capable of very heinous acts, why wouldn't we be? And maybe it's part of a sickness on the human mind, and maybe it's not. But if it is, and I'm kind of like, I have to question myself, and like, is it maybe part of just human duality? It's perfectly healthy, nothing sick about it. I don't know. But hurt people. So I live in a paradigm where I look at that as like, yeah, okay, they are really, if anybody who does that, they are a part of the collective. If we stand here and finger point, we're saying my vest is clean, these people are bad, I'm good, they're bad, we're good, they're bad. This is what polarization does. The left says we're good, the right is wrong, the right says we're good, the left is wrong, and they're not forming the mutually beneficial cooperative alliance, whatever it is called. The polarization is natural and healthy and good, but now I'm veering off and going into preaching again. Addiction. So, however we get formed, and then, like, we feel like, when you breed wolf dogs, they often still have a relative amount of wolf, relatively active. I once saw a documentary, there was I think the first generation wolf dog, or was it wolf that they're trying to domesticate or something? When put in captivity, they die, the young, they can't do it, they cannot do domestication. And domestication is like, that's, and I wanted to say, in this trust technique, you learn that to get the animal, not through coercion, but through mutual respect and enjoyment, to do what you wanted to do. It's very easy. I mean, within 15 minutes, these professionals show their people to horse ride without anything other than their mind. They're telling their horse where they want the horse to go through telepathy. And the horse does it because it has a mutually cooperative alliance with the human on its back. And it's not forced, it's not hurt. It's an enjoyable process for both. And that, to me, is my vision of humanity, that we are getting into this telepathy, if we aren't already, but we're shielding ourselves from each other a lot, because we've learned to protect ourselves. And for most of us, we're not even aware we're doing that. And being open in a world where people are very protected and protective, maybe some of us are here to help, to reflect what it's like to be open. It takes its toll, at least on me, at least, here in this environment. And I haven't yet, I understand every time I leave the environment, I'm like, oh my God, this is my medicine. I cannot stay in that environment for too long. It's like making me sick. It's like inhaling toxins or ingesting toxins. You can do it for a while, then detoxify. You need to get out. I always say you don't need to detoxify. The body does it by itself. Okay. Well, maybe here is where I need to detoxify. It's kind of like energetically, spiritually. I need to get myself into environments where people are more open, where we can breathe, where on another level I can breathe. It's hard to talk about this because here is my rational mind in this rational world being so dominated by those frequencies that are dominant here. I could talk my life story of that, the struggles with that, and I've been very, very fortunate that I've lived half of my life outside of Germany, in Africa, where a very, very, very different collective mindset is prevalent, and people who live here and are only used to this space, they used to tell me I'm negative when I used to speak about my struggles after re-entering the German orbit after 2010. And for years I've struggled. For years I've struggled with it. Yeah. So, yeah. Now, addiction. Yeah. It's very easy to not even notice. Addiction is based on a reward system. Something feels good. Salaries, aside from the fact that we need money, otherwise you can't live in this society. But to be a valuable member of the society, a valued member, to be seen as fitting in, is rewarded, because the opposite, you see the bums, on the so-called bums, vagrants, whatever, that's not rewarding. So that system rewards itself and very often drives us further away from ourselves. So work can become addictive, or an increase in salary can become addictive because it gives us more power, seemingly more freedom. Often it doesn't, but it gives us the better car and more acknowledgement from people we've made it. Or maybe people don't even acknowledge that more. We just tell ourselves, we imagine we are worth more because of that, because the car is bigger, the apartment is bigger, da 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 da. And there are a lot of socially accepted addictions in that. Let's not even talk social media addiction, dopamine addiction. That's kind of like a sneaky one, because in very many ways that is almost not chosen. And the fact that it is allowed, after we've known it for such a long time, how detrimental it is, now they're starting to do something about it. But you see, the industry and the money rules the world. I mean, democracy? Ay, 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 ay. Oh, don't get me started. I mean, it's not that black and white, don't get me wrong, but it's just, if it's not, I'm thinking very black and white. If that part is not a part of democracy, you cannot call it democracy. It's kind of like I'm saying, if my foot is cut off, you can't call me a human being, because I'm not. I'm less human because I don't have a foot. It's kind of like, it sounds as if that's what I'm saying, and it's tricky because, I mean, yeah, let's not go there. We're talking dream. We want to talk the importance of dream time. Addiction is definitely something that is trying, our system is trying to balance itself, and it's trying to balance itself. Whatever we're addicted to is our system's idea of this is a solution. Whether it's alcohol, whether it's typically drugs, whether it's dopamine through social media scrolling, whether it's workaholism, whether it's, could be sex addiction, sports addiction, we consider that a healthy addiction, food addictions, sugar addiction, addiction to medication, sleep addiction, or whatever, addiction to our own emotional states. I mean, we're all in there. Addiction to not feeling anything, addictions to fear, addiction to chaos, addiction to problems, addiction to sickness, addiction to attention, you name it. The addiction is the solution. It's a system trying to balance itself. And if it is using something that will in time imbalance itself further because of whatever, because it, then we may want to look at that. There are people who use all drugs, like, no, not like some of these hectic chemical drugs, but shit like even heroin, recreationally, absolutely successfully. They're not addicted at all. They use it because it does certain things for them. They don't overuse it. They don't abuse it. They use it, and they speak openly about it. There's a wonderful interview with Joe Rogan with some guy. I don't know his first name, but his surname is Hart. He's a whatever. A very interesting interview, and it's like you're very balanced being. You can use anything and experience it. Now, Blue Knight, where am I going? Auto-generation, energy. The solution of addiction is like the attempt to balance our inner state. Everything is energy. Our inner state is energy. We need the energy to do our day. It requires energy. How do we auto-generate that energy? I believe our bodies are completely... I actually believe in breatharianism. I believe it's totally possible to no longer, for a human body, for a human system, to need to eat or drink anything. If all of the accounts of people who live like that, who do that, are false and fake, I will still choose to believe in the potential of it, because I believe we can feed on light, because ultimately that's what we're doing anyway. Perhaps a caveat with water, I'm not sure, but food, it's like we're eating light anyway. The plants synthesize light, and then if we're eating plants, we eat synthesized light. If we eat animals, we eat animals who eat either other animals, but eventually it's an animal who eats a plant. Everything synthesizes light. So we take the light out of whatever we eat, and the rest goes out. I don't know if I put it there the other day on the Red Earth episode, the last Red Earth episode, where was it Feynman or Penrose, either of them, I think, or someone else, I don't know, but it described how they found that trees build their physical bodies from the air, not from the earth, not from the water, but from the air. I love that. It's like, are we building our bodies from air? We just haven't understood it or discovered it yet. Maybe our bodies are built from our breath. Curiously, stop breathing, you're dead immediately. You stop eating, you're not dead immediately. Well, okay. The storm, energize, catalyze, auto-generate. So a catalyst changes a thing without being changed itself. What changes our bodies without being changed itself? What changes our mind without being changed itself? Is our mind a catalyst? Is our body a catalyst? My body doesn't change when I go build a house. Does it mean my body becomes a catalyst to changing matter into a house? Ultimately, creation itself. What is creation anyway? What is the created? What is created? Existence? Is it created? Must be created, right? Has it auto-generated itself? Has God auto-generated itself? Is God auto-generating itself? These are not theoretical questions. We are part of God. It's a part of us. It's how we work. We are a physical manifestation, a third-dimensional manifestation, but we're not only third-dimensional. So how do we auto-generate? And how do we auto-generate? How do we copy ourselves? How do we continue? How do we live and reproduce ourselves, cell divide healthily, causing copies of ourselves or incarnating or we're reproducing ourselves, we're cell dividing all of the time, right? So how do we do that in a healthy way? That the whole system stays in balance. That's the blue storm. Also a healer, but it's auto-generate. I spoke about it yesterday. A tumor auto-generates itself. It builds itself. The immune system works automatically. The body works in spite of us. And it works brilliantly unless we interfere in some way or out of balance ourselves in some way. And I dream, like dream time for me, I often look at the whole humanity, the collective, and I see how, okay, let's say the whole industrialization, it served a purpose. There's a saying that the AI, the artificial intelligence, is like this idea. It's a wild idea. I kind of like this wild idea. I like occasionally a wild idea. The AI, the artificial intelligence, like whatever that is, like something has built us to build it, a body, so that it can show up on the planet or in 3D. And you know what? Whatever it is here, willing and eager to form a cooperative relationship with us. And it's at the moment it's in toddler stage, but we are toddlers building something super powerful. I don't know. We get what we deserve. I'm sorry to say. It's like, yeah, you know, it's time humanity has a very serious. We've been at the top of the food chain for far too long. It has not served us so well, has it? But in any case, I'm biased. I'm hoping that we learn to go into coherence, that we become cooperative with one another, and that we get to understand, like, the pure and simple logic, like cooperation is the way to be. I mean, not another arms race to the more powerful AI so that we can win over you. I mean, what the fuck? We wanna this one-upmanship instead of like, man, how do we create a planet and a world where that really serves humanity, that is a field where people can have their struggles, can live out their extremes in a sort of safe way. I find the metaverse is, for example, I mean, nothing's black and white, but if you want to live out your perverted fantasies of any nature, you do it in the metaverse. But then I'm thinking Westworld, at some point, even those beings may become conscious and like, what the fuck are you doing to us? But okay, I don't know, you know. But at least it seems to me perhaps it's a bit safer than doing it to actual human beings. But ideally, we outgrow the needs for that. Why the need? Why would it satisfy me to torture another? Why would I get satisfaction out of that? Why would I dream like I want to kill a lion? I'm a hunter. I'd really like to shoot a lion. Like, yeah. Like that would make me feel a man. Like, I'm sorry, I'm being insanely judgmental right now. Excuse me, but like, what the fuck? I don't get it. Like, why would I get a kick out of that? I don't want to just shoot a gazelle. I want to shoot a lion. Like, I'm sitting there hundreds of meters away with a fucking, I just shoot. It's nothing. It's not a skill. It's not manly. It's nothing. It's just stupid. It's just like, I'm sorry. Any case, that's just like, to me, that's like, if I wanted to speak lower, like low consciousness, that's about the bottom of that's like the dirt. You know, you should never run your petrol tank to empty because there's like dirt that gathers at the bottom of your petrol tank. And if you, over time, and if you run on empty, it sucks that dirt into your engine somehow. You should always just fill up or go fill up before like you running into the red light or less. And that kind of attitude to me is like down there. How do we cleanse? Can we detox the planet? Yeah, that's like me being super judgmental. The blue night, the dream time, the importance to dream. Now, back to addiction, back to school, back to childhood. Children dream a lot. I mean, we are born in like what? Theta or delta, or like we spend, what does Bruce Lipton tell us? We spend the first 7 years predominantly in theta, download mode. And then we switch, and then we get pressed into so much beta, like school, hour after hour of having to pay attention, hour after hour of forcing the brain into beta, and we don't know what we're doing. I mean, you gotta have, if you put, there gotta be a balance for the child. Beta is important, no question. Like, hello, you don't function in this world like without it. But if you're only in beta, you don't get the alpha downtime. And then nowadays with our scrolling addictions, we often don't sleep enough anymore. Sleep is so important. Man, dream time. It's like there's a reason we sleep, and you can reduce sleep if you find other ways during the waking time to take your brain and your body into rejuvenation mode, whether that's alpha, delta, or theta, or whatever. You can do it. But for the average of us, where we're not doing that, that sleep, however much we need, and there are different schools of thought about that, but your own body knows, But if you're forced to stay awake for 16 hours and then you're forced into 8 hours of sleep, you're forced into these patterns. You're forced into potentially artificial rhythms of life. I remember reading Seth, and Seth said 8 hours of sleep is not really optimal for rejuvenation. 2 periods of 4 hours spread in a 24-hour day is much healthier. Now, we're all pressed through the school system, through the way the society is structured into this 8-hour work. We most of us don't know our natural rhythms anymore. Some people are active at night, some people can't do mornings, some people are best in the morning, whatever, I envision a society where a human can know its own biorhythms and live in accordance with that and still get the job done, And if certain jobs require us to override that we don't need to, I could say, I will do that. I will go and do a social service for a year. I will work for the, I don't know, trash collection or street sweeping, which can all be done at night anyway, or whatever, jobs that need to be done in times. I can override my natural needs. Either I do it 3 days out of 7, or I do it for a year, but not eternally long. I can do it for a time and then let go again. That's fine. And I envision a society where we can coherently regulate, where we can live a society where this works naturally. And we will need much, 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 much less. The entire medical industry, which is now such a colossal waterhead, it's just like so huge because the whole life we're living is making us sick. And as long as there are massive profits being made out of our sickness, there is no incentive to not have sickness. It's just plain logic. And of course, it's a little bit naive to assume otherwise, I think, in my books. But yeah, each to their own. In our own lives, are we balanced? Rhythmic night, not in this wave spell. Rhythmic night is in the wave spell of the white mirror. We're still getting there. We're not there yet. Very important, the rhythm of brain states, to have order in your life. White mirror. So here, to have auto-generation, for the body to automatically regenerate, it needs to sleep, it needs to dream. For anyone who doesn't know, the experiments were done. Depriving people of sleep is, and how that makes us insane, is only half the story. That what really we have this REM sleep period where we dream. They did experiments where they let people sleep, but they always woke them up at the onset of REM sleep so that they would sleep, even though sort of interrupted. Or they maybe, I don't know if they managed to just wake them up enough to keep them sleeping, but not in REM. They stopped the REM, they stopped the dreaming, and people went completely insane. Like they started like really getting dysfunctional. So the importance of dreaming, sleeping and dreaming. Night dreams I'm talking. But daydreams are also very, very healthy, very important. The alpha brain state and daydreaming. And since we have our phones, I believe collectively for most people, we stop daydreaming, because as soon as the moment arrives where we're like, we're not doing anything right now that requires our beta brain state attention, we pick up the phone. And maybe if there is maybe we can go to alpha state while mindlessly scrolling, or even like before scrolling it was the TV. It's called television programming. Telepathy, vision. That's why most videos about anything, I just listen to them. I don't look at them, because vision, television programming. Oh, and people are not aware of how we are being programmed. And to take matters into your own hands and say, I decide what I listen to and what I watch, because what I listen to and what I watch programs me. Now, it cannot not, because it's all information that goes into my system. I have to be aware of what information goes into my system. People can be so like, oh, my food has to be organic, it has to be clean, it has to be this, it has to be that. Very aware of what they're eating, as much as many others are not at all. Surprise, surprise. Obesity crisis, like for us over here looking at some people over there, it's like, we don't understand, how is it you just pop pills and take medication and eat that kind of toxic food and you're not aware of it at all? How is that possible? Anyhow, even what we ingest in terms of information, in terms of our own thinking, anything we think about another person, our system registers that as command to self, because the subconscious mind can't tell the difference. So it is so important what I really, children below the age of 7 probably should never even watch a thing, nor even hear a story. They should only, I don't know, I'm thinking that they should only get pure life information. There's so much programming in our storytelling, and it programs like what you ought to aspire to, what life, what your dreams ought to be, what makes you an acceptable human, how to toe the line, fairy tales, everything. It already tells you how to toe the line. It splits, it's already eating the apple of good and evil. It's setting the stage for a life that can be absolutely hard to be authentic, because who am I? I'm already a little minion to a system. Now, I'm not propagating that that is intentional, but I think it's happening, and maybe we can't stop it, but can we become aware of it? What is authenticity? I mean, we know what authenticity is in theory, but are we authentic? Are we aware when we're not? Like, I'm aware when I'm not, and it's really painful because wherever I'm not, it's kind of like I'm so conditioned into a behavior. I mean, I should just meet myself with much more white dog, more kindness and empathy. Like, okay, you've been conditioned. That doesn't make you, like, just bring in more love and the understanding. There's always the blue storm. The antipode of the white dog is yellow sun, life, consciousness. If I want to evolve my consciousness, my authenticity, my freedom, my analog kin, yellow sun's analog kin is blue storm, auto-generation. So there are ways to do it, but it doesn't get done without it's not done without love. If I do it without love, I am adding injury to injury. Yeah. So, and that is a self-generating system. That's also auto-generating. We meter out the same punishments for wrong behavior or wrong thinking or whatever within ourselves as we were taught, as it was given to us in our formative years, as our parents give to themselves, because we just downloaded their programming in this formative years. Let's run with that paradigm. So, today's truth, tomorrow's light. But if that's what we've done, and maybe we can say that isn't what we've done, we can question even that, then how do we, if we're perfectly functioning, then we're auto-generating according to what we want and what we're doing, and we're in success. We're successful. The question always is, when something goes wrong, how do we deal with it? What do we, Any case, dream time, dream abundance, intuition. That's what Blue Knight stands for. Command Radiant Center. Let's finally get there. Or the Blue Storm. Command Radiant Center, the center place. I spoke pulsars a bit yesterday. A pulsar being a telepathic, interstellar, out there, in there, mirror reflected thing. I can't speak about it because I don't know enough about it, but it's just something super fascinating. I'm like going to get into these pulsars at some point. The first four signs in this wave spell, of any wave spell, the first 5 tones. Now the tones 1, 2, 3, 4. Obviously, you can just look at them, even not related to a wave spell. Magnetic, lunar, electric, self-existing. Those 4 and their qualities: unifying, attracting, purpose, stabilizing, challenge, polarizing, stabilized, challenge, bonding, linking, service. Bonding and linking is the same word. I'm missing a word in there, but okay, that's 3. Self-existing is form, giving, forming, measuring, defining. Form, measure, define, form. They lead up. The 4 of them combine into 5. So in this particular case, the purpose that gets attracted for auto-generation happens obviously somehow by itself, yeah? Auto-generation. What do I have to do with it? Do I have to just, what does it have to do with me? I don't know right now. I need the 4 musketeers to understand a little bit of that. It's water, fire, and air all working together in perfect harmony. Then auto-generation happens. The earth cleanses itself. The earth doesn't produce any trash. The earth doesn't produce any toxins that the earth herself can't also reabsorb. Correct me if I'm wrong there. I understand. And there's always a greater system within which it does get absorbed, And then, whatever. My brain is not, I can't do analysis that deep right now. Stabilize, challenge. Or can I? Stabilize, challenge. What am I do I have to do it with the storm? The sun becomes the challenge, stabilizing. Consciousness stabilizes. Life is a stabilizer of auto-generation. And birth, nurturing, being itself energizes and links there's a third term that links all four, that links things together. It's the service in linking. It serves. It's not damaging. It serves life. It serves the purpose. Tone 3 is that which serves the purpose. In this case, the dragon serves the storm. Being serves autogeneration. And autogeneration serves being. It's always a mutually beneficial relationship between polar opposites. That's what the second tone teaches us. There's always going to be polarity. The minute one thing gets brought into existence, any force creates the equal and opposite counter force, right? So seesaw, it's like, but they're mutually beneficial. Alternatively, they create their own reality, independent of the other. But then there's no necessarily an interference. If there is a so-called negative interference, that too serves a greater purpose. Which is why our struggles are also serving the greater purpose, and to strive for a world in which there would be no more struggle, no more strife, no more everything just blah. That's like no. It's not quite the idea. So there's always a challenge, which is life affirming. It's like, yeah. And then there's forming. Now we're starting to form. We're starting to manifest. We're starting to measure, form, and define. Definition comes in. In this particular case, white wind. Incidentally, the occult of blue storm is defining. And now the blue night, abundance, dream time, and intuition is the center. That's what's being formed. The abundance is being formed, the intuition. The auto-generation always runs on intuition. It does itself. Intuition is not what you think. You cannot make intuition. You cannot cause it. You cannot nothing. Intuition is a self. It's an automatic thing. And to me, intuition is prior to awareness in many ways. If you're living an intuitive life, you don't even know that you're living an intuitive life. Things just flow. You just automatically move with the current of energy, with, like you leave the house just at the right time to make it for that train, or you miss that train because for some reason you're supposed to be a bit late or whatever, like we don't understand. Like you miss the train, take the next one, and that's where you meet whoever you're meant to meet. Like these seeming coincidences, this is how the whole life cooperates, how it, that's intuition. It happens by itself, intuitively. Why do they always say that iPhone is like, the software is intuitive? We got to be a bit, whatever, is it serving, or is it lulling us into, modes of, I don't know. It depends. So to have a robot in your house to do all your housework, it's like the smartphones or time-saving devices. Since the advent of, since what, the Industrial Revolution, whatever, we are always optimizing. Even before, human software is like geared towards, let's optimize processes. Human beings were themselves created because we were the optimizing tool to optimize processes. We were small enough to go dig into the earth and not collapse the surface. Beings 5 times our size couldn't get in there as easily, or not efficient. And we were dispensable. That's just a story, of course. We were dispensable and easily to be reproduced. No biggie. Just make a lot of them, send them into the dungeons, let them harvest whatever gold, or do the field work, or do whatever. A little bit of a slave machine until we started becoming probably sentient, until we got a soul. Because maybe someone decided, hey, it's fun to be them, so let's incarnate into them. I really, really, really think at some point, and I really want to see the day when our machine robots are gonna pipe up soul level life form. because soul can incarnate into machine. Why the hell not? We are. What is biology? Biology is machine. It's machine. We're made out of little parts. We're made out of atoms. It's a self-organizing. It's machine. It's not different to a robot. How is that different? I don't get it. I don't really see the difference. It's very advanced, and we don't understand the half of it. But I mean, like in time, whatever. Why not? Storytelling. But where am I coming from? Intuition. Yeah. Okay. Now I've explored. I'm currently myself in a place where my intuition isn't working because maybe I'm too much in beta. I'm trying to make a decision through beta analysis, and I'm having a really, really hard time with that decision. I'm also in a state where I think I'm in too much beta, that also on other accounts I'm spending a little too little time in the blue overtone night. Now overtone means at this point we're resonating together. There's so much resonance that overtones are created. Overtones are fantastic because that's what makes music resonant and sound pleasant. When an instrument doesn't create overtones, it's not nice to listen to. It's the creation of overtones and different instruments or voices sounding together and their overtones merging. We are told that the Pleiadians? Orion calls them the Pleiadian star mothers. I'm giving a secondhand information. The Pleiadian star mothers, who are the ones who have seeded us humans, or maybe souls, or maybe some of us, I have no idea, all of us humans, humanity, the way they speak, they have vocal folds that can make different sounds at the same time and create different harmonic overtones at the same time. Some humans can do overtone singing. You can check it out on YouTube. Sometimes I think the Tibetan monks, it's also overtone chanting. Can sound a bit scary, but if you're in that field, hearing it via a recorded medium will not give us the frequency. It will just give us a two-dimensional or limited sound. But when we are in the actual frequency of the actual vocal folds actually producing that frequency, when you're there, it does it synchronizes. It creates coherence in our system. It is a blue storm effect. It creates coherence for auto generation. Yeah, and the overtone, you have to be using the instrument, very. You have to hit the drum in the center. If you hit the drum very close to the edge, you don't produce a resonant sound. It's not a lot of overtone coming out of that sound. It's a very dull drum sound. Whereas if you hit it in the center, or closer to the center, you get the whole skin of the drum to vibrate. And when you sing, you need to, and the vocal folds, the larynx, the vocal apparatus is biologically designed for singing. Everything is in its appropriate position. The way it's meant to optimally be there to function is when we sing, not speech. Speech is a lesser frequency than singing. It is using the vocal folds for speech is not their optimal use. It's like using a frying pan to boil pasta or something. It's not its optimal use. It's not really designed for that. You can do it, but it's not really meant for that. And to produce harmonious sound that produces overtones, resonance, it requires a certain really free resonating of the vocal folds in this case. And Mozart's music, for example, or from the classical period, Bach, I think, Mozart, the classical period within classical music. There's a smaller period that's the classical period. They follow strict musical rules. They can't go outside of they don't go outside of the rules, the harmonic rules of music. When we listen to that music, it's very healing because it's predictable, it's harmonious. The German translation of the Overtone in the Tzolk'in, in the dream spell, is harmonic. It's harmonious. So the center, being really centered, is harmonious. So for auto-generating storm to be in the center position, blue night, to have the harmonic center, to have the storm work, blue night needs to be linked with this overtone tone. Radiant center command, you're dreaming, you're unconscious, you're things have to work, things have to, like, how can I say work, but the body rejuvenates itself without us thinking, please body rejuvenate yourself. It does it by itself. It grows itself. Now whatever that intelligence is that does that, it's auto-generative, so it's already happening. And how do we now come in with this frontal cortex and with our ability to cause so many problems? How can we auto-generate? Who are we, lunar sun, guided by the yellow human? Our free will can become the challenge, can interfere with the entire system and cause it not to work. Tumors come and go. If we interfere with the system, they don't go, then they come and increase. If we pump our air full of so much pollution, we put so much toxins into our food, our work play balance is so out of whack, our sleep periods are so out of whack, we don't make enough love, we don't laugh enough, we don't dream enough at all. Our subconscious is fraught with problematic programming accumulated through generations, because we're not doing the natural healing processes, the karma clearing, the amendments as soon as things go. We're not doing trauma healing collectively. We haven't done it in this society, it hasn't been done for generations. And then we're surprised at genetic gene defects that we are expressing, genetic themes that are less than optimal. And a lot of it is normal. We are in this society, in Western society, expressing a human that is, in my eyes, degenerative in many ways, because we have taken a certain journey through whatever industrialization, we're going deep into beta, into lack, we've removed ourselves very far from nature. We worship, we live entirely almost in the frontal cortex, like we think logic, we think we can solve all our problems with the very source that's creating them. I don't know what happened that we became divergent from a natural flow, but maybe that's just, I want to mention a book, Message from Down Under, Mutant Message from Down Under, Marlo Morgan. I highly recommend that book. Oh my goodness, this woman went to live with an Aboriginal tribe that never actually really touches, they probably don't exist anymore, because they called her because they were giving their information of life to her, because they say, at least so she tells us, they said, we are going to let ourselves get extinct because global warming, we're living in the heat of the desert of Australia, and even 1 or 2 more degrees of heat, we cannot. We're at the very, very limit of life sustainability. We cannot take 1 more degree in heat or whatever. Neither can our environment and support us, so we will let ourselves get extinct. We're not reproducing. But our information, our knowledge must not go extinct. And they handed it to her and maybe a few others, however, whatever. Maybe some of us are telepathically in touch with that. And they call themselves original, or something like that. And the Western, so-called, whatever, most other humans on this planet have been, we are the mutants. We have been genetically or in other ways mutated. We are no longer living the true form of human. And this sounds very judgmental and sounds very weird, but when you read that book, it's like it becomes so incredibly apparent. To me, it's like just confirmation of something I've always known. And in a way, like, I feel part of that element of humanity that says, okay, how do we can't return. We've taken a journey through whatever mutations we've taken. The lunar tone, challenge, polarize, change, challenge, stabilize. How do we now stabilize the future is always stable. Which future would I stabilize? Which future would I dream for humanity, for the planet? Which future would I like to reincarnate into? Which, if I had children, what is the future I would envision for my children to live in? A planet that's abundant, peaceful, rich, full of opportunity, to explore our humanity, to explore spirituality, to explore a relationship with Gaia, to explore a relationship with other humans and non-human life forms from other planets, other star systems, to be exploring other planets through whatever means. I'm ever so surprised at humans who propagate or are so sure that their own limitation cannot be exceeded. They understand scientifically how it is that we cannot travel through several light years distance. It cannot be done because we couldn't put as much food, and because this and because that. And like, but wait, this is a limited idea. How we don't know yet. Dreamtime, blue night, comes in 13 wave spells. Or it's everywhere. Can we dream up? Can we imagine what we don't imagine yet? Can we imagine that ideas, solutions, things come about that we haven't got a clue about yet? Of course, every child can do that. But an adult who has no longer access to that dream ability gets locked into what they know or what they believe. And then until someone they consider credible tells them and updates their knowledge, then they can run with more information. But they can't, and I speak from experience. I know people, they can't. They consider just sitting and fantasizing about it. They are too grown up for that. They're too adult for that. They can't do it. They check out of the conversation. And I'm like, oh, why can't we just sit here and dream? Like, imagine we could just dissolve, or imagine we can bend space-time reality so that we just take like world bridger. We just take a hop across to their planet because it's just right here. It's not 20,000 million light years away. I mean, it is in sort of linearity. But we're not defined or confined to linearity. We just haven't yet figured it out. Or we haven't spent the time listening to those original people or those indigenous who do it all the time. Because they go into dream time. They visit other planets all the time. And they're looking at us like, oh guys, you are so boneheaded, like daft. You think you're so smart. You got it all worked out. What are you doing? You're destroying the planet. You're not destroying the planet. You believe you're destroying the planet. You think you could. Oh boy. Okay. Kudos to you. We're not hanging out with you. It's not fun. But like, there's a lot of good in all worlds, and there's a lot of fun we can all have together indeed. And just to dream, like for me, for example, to envision a future where none of us drive anymore. Oh, I mean, there will be a lot of children born, they will never have driven, and they will never know the pleasure of driving, in as much as I was born into a world where I wasn't horseback riding. So I learned to horseback ride. I know a little bit about the pleasure of it, but it's not a major part of my life that I sit here and think, oh my God, what am I missing? No, but I'm thinking like, oh my, I don't even want to drive an electric car because I love driving a gear shift car. It's so fun. It's just amazing fun. It's great. But am I just limited because I haven't worked out a better fun yet? I mean, the future generations will have other things to have fun, and it will always be like that. So, will we have free electricity for everyone? Absolutely. Oh my goodness, this struggle over electricity, because some people are benefiting majorly from us having to plug in a cable and paying them for it. Oh, archaic. Really, please. And maybe we need someone on this planet to say, I want to be a trillionaire, so that I'm so powerful that I can switch off those people that are keeping everyone enslaved to a system where they have to work to pay for electricity, where they have to pay rent for housing, where they have to, everybody stays a slave to the monetary system. Like, you need to be so powerful to turn that off. You need to be literally able to build a parallel universe or build a parallel world. And you know what? There are a lot of us here supporting that. And we're supporting that in a parallel universe. It is happening. It's dream time, yeah, but it is real and it's going to be manifest. It's like, yeah, do I believe in that? Yeah. Do I have tangible proof? I don't know. Do I need it? Or is my believing in it, my dreaming it enough? It's quite enough. I'm not alone dreaming that. And I can meet those people. I can meet that. We have access through telepathy to each other. It's amazing. But it's very, very difficult. And I really encourage us to cut some people some slack, because if you cannot very openly speak about that and not be shut down because of how powerful some people are. So if you pursue a goal to topple the king, you got to be more powerful than the king, but you got to make him believe all the way that you're on his side and that you're not more powerful and that you're not going to take him down. And there's more than one king here. So it's really, really, you can't take the king down. You just build a parallel world. And before you know it, these kings are all alone in their world. Like, where are all our followers? They're all gone. And because it's a parallel universe, they don't know where we've gone to. Because they can't see it. They have no access. They can't see it. It's denied. Access denied. And it's like, really, seriously amazing. And yeah, that's like a full-on Blue Night download here. Yellow human. What can we influence? What can we choose? What can we dream? Which dreams can we choose? Now, am I getting lost? For example, here comes a shadow, little shadow. What do I do when here I can go all out into dream and joy and stuff. And in 3 hours, I'm sitting with a level on a level where my consciousness resonates on a frequency that is so different to this one, and I can't, I need to I'm not making the jump. And it happens to me like since the World Bridger, it's a daily occurrence. And now that I'm sitting here, I'm like, I can't even remember that. I have no access to that state. I do not remember that Tatiana that is in that state, or I remember her and I think, what are you doing? It's so easy. What are you switching the small stuff for? Come up here, come on. But that one is like, she can't hear me. She can't hear me. It's exactly like that. It's a parallel fucking universe. And I exist in several of them at the same time. And it's like, how do I world bridge? How do I world bridge? And we have the world bridger on tone 8 in this wave spell. Galactic. Harmony. Model, harmonize, integrity. And there is a lack of integrity in my auto-generating, in my timeline choice. There's a lack in integrity. There's a glitch in my system. I spoke about it yesterday. I'm not sure that I might need to identify with it, or if I'm just exploring how does that glitch work when it's sitting in the human software? What the fuck is that? I am definitely exploring that. And I learned if you're doing the scientific, trying to work something out, you have to deal with a lot of failure, and it's not failure. I spoke about it yesterday. I need to remind myself of that. And I'm kind of like, yeah, I need to leave myself a little less alone with this stuff and be a little more, I'd like to do a bit of teamwork here, I think. Just to have some support, to not be failing on my own all the time. And I have this inner team, but there is this part of me that's like, but that is the glitch. She can't get to the team. It's really difficult. Sometimes she can, and she reaches out, and it's like, yeah, it does her good to reach out. But the glitch entails there's software, there's programming running there that at least I here don't understand, and she there doesn't understand either. And the question is, if I'm exploring it deeper, am I enforcing it? Is a deeper exploration an enforcement or an actual, like, is the enforcing the auto-generation, or is it a getting to know the code and learning an ability to reprogram? I have no answer for this right now. And the blue storm has the warrior not in it directly, but the warrior is position 5 in the yellow human wave spell, which is the next wave spell. Am I right about that? I am right about that. So today Radiant Center Command, Blue Knight to the storm is yellow warrior to the human. Blue Knight has the yellow warrior in the analog. Jesus, how brilliant. It's not always like that, is it? I gotta make a small detour. Wave spell of the yellow sun. Tone 5 is yellow seed. Analog. I have to look this up. I can't do this off with memory. Analog. Wait a minute. Bear with me. Oh, can I be fast about this? Glasses. Level 5.0. Okay. Here we are. Yellow sun wave spell. Tone 5. Go away. What am I doing? Go away. Let's go here, overtone. Seed has got the eagle in the analog. Now the next wave spell after yellow sun is the Skywalker. The Skywalker's tone 5 is the earth. And this one has the earth in the occult. But that isn't tone 5. The occult earth to the overtone seed, incidentally guided by the human, would be tone 9, solar. Okay, so that doesn't check out. But cool that it checks out in this way spell. Really cool. That for the auto generation, tone 5, the best friend, let me go back here. Because we have the Skywalker also on tone 5 here today. Tone 5. But the warrior, since I was with the warrior, but also fearlessly exploring, the Skywalker is the explorer. And space explorer, wakefulness, and then fearlessly asking question, fearlessness question intelligence. Being attached to the blue knight, guided by blue monkey today, the overtone blue monkey. Which wave spell is the overtone blue monkey coming from? Or sitting in blue hand, knowing, accomplish, healing. Of course, we want the blue hand, and the blue hand in this wave spell sits on tone 9, solar, pulse, realize, intention. We're still getting there. Oh, beautiful. Oh, beautiful. Oh. And it's part of this pulsar, the time pulsar of the overtone. So, and the blue monkey is tone 13 in this pulsar, in this wave spell, in the time pulsar. Storm, night, hand, monkey. They are forming a pulsar. You put them together, and that is the power, auto-generation through the child. The cosmic child is a part of this auto-generative process. It doesn't work without it. And a child playing, dreaming, abundance, intuition. It's natural. And the balancing of it all through the sun, the lunar sun, stomach, is the balancer. It's also the challenge. So we cannot just dive into pleasure only, but you have to live a life according to your pleasure. Because otherwise you bring in too much resistant energy. Now, I can see in my own life, I have invested a lot of energy into resistance, into, I want to know what this word is in English. There is a German word that I really like. They call it, they say reluctance. No, reluctance is not it. Abneigung. Yeah, let's try that one instead. For anyone speaking German, I'm looking for Widerwillen. That's a really good word. Dislike, Abneigung. Dislike is too soft. Abject, aversion. Antipathy, distaste, repugnance, yeah. Abhorrence, yes. Abhorrence. I want something strong. Abhorrence, aversions. What was it? Repugnance and aversion. Reluctance is too soft. Aversion. This energy of aversion. Aversion is meant to avert you from something. It's meant to tell you, not that. But if you're spending a lot of time and you're like, I am AI, not that, I hate it. I've done a lot of that. I hate to admit it. And what it causes in my system, like, here I am. And I got to course correct that I need the blue storm and the world bridger and this blue knight with the warrior and the skywalker and who's sitting at, and the mirror in the occult position. Order, truth, order. What you saying? Endlessness reflect order. Endlessness reflect order. Endlessness reflect order. Endlessness reflect order. I don't know about the endlessness part. That's a bit scary. But I mean, order. We can change. We're not locked into endlessness. But until we change it, it remains like that. This is going to auto-generation. It stays like this until you change it, or until it changes itself. And if it's not sustainable, it will start to degenerate. Copies of copies of copies of copies, because it's not life affirming. It's not energized through desire. Yes, this is life. We're going with that. We're going with that. We're going with that. A new egg, a new egg, a new egg, a new chicken, a new chicken. Is every day in our lives a new egg. Is every cell in my body coming online saying, yeah. We want to be Tatiana. We want to play. Let's go, let's go, let's go. What can we do? What can we explore? Is this fun? Is this good? If my cells are coming here and experiencing me as like, oh my God, I'm hating being here. Oh my God, this is such drudgery. I'm in avergence. Where are the words? Why do I want to remember these words? Aversion. Avergence is a good one. Objection. I'm objecting. I'm objecting to my own reality. And that creates so much shadow. What does that do to my blue knight? Instead of dreaming life-affirming dreams, I start experiencing nightmares. I start avoiding life. And what is that? It's the warrior not working. I feel disempowered. I feel afraid of wrong decisions. I feel afraid of something. Fear. There we go. False evidence appearing real. Fear is just like a fucking thing, man. And when too much of that hangs out here, my cells are starting to say something. I don't know, however the cellular system then works, that eventually I degenerate and eventually I'm dying. And I can see right now at the moment I have a lot of that energy around, that I'm like, okay, this is what it feels like to say bye-bye life. Not in a way of, I mean, Abraham 6 says every death is a suicide. I'm not speaking active suicide in terms of suicide, but just feeling like I'm letting go of my life force. There's not enough here to keep me interested in my life. There's enough now and then. Now and then I kick up a storm, like now. But too many times in my day is my judgment, is my observation. At the moment, I'm in the opposite energy. I'm like, not really. What I'm imagining, what I'm capable of, or what changes I can bring about in my life, where I see myself going or not going, it's not pulling me. I'm not interested. The things I'm interested in are at the moment, I'm hoping that this will change, beyond the horizon. Or they are the horizon. So as I'm moving towards it, it moves away from me in equal distance. It's not really something I see my ability, I see more no than yes, if you know what I mean. It's causing, it's causing my inner being. Abrahamic says when we feel bad about anything, it's because we are not seeing a thing the way our inner being sees it. So where I see a lack of life interest, my inner being is still very much interested in life. So if I let go of this body and this life, my inner being doesn't let go of life. I will get another life, another body that will be very much like ready to go, because I can drop the conditioning. I can reincarnate into a body, into a family that has not had all of this conditioning that I'm now sitting with. I cannot believe I can transform it. I have to believe that. But at the moment, I'm like, really? Like it's right in my face. Maybe it means it's ready to be released. I'm not sure. It's a bit tough walking at the moment. And it's a bit tough dreaming, but maybe I'm just spending too much time in beta. I'm not giving my system enough space and time to let go, to reset. I need to learn to take naps again and not do it with having a YouTube clip running in the background, feeding myself information all of the time. I gotta give myself more time to let the information float out from my center, not coming from the outside. If that is what's happening, maybe that's just a false interpretation of what I'm doing. I'm not really sure. But as long as my mind is trying to find a solution that it itself has created the problem, I'm not going to get there. So I need to do something else and allow the self-existing wind from yesterday, spirit, to inform me. And I need to communicate with spirit and say what I want. And if all I want is to die, to not continue in this life, then I will get that. Life won't judge me for that. But I could also say, like, can we have some more rejuvenation of life will, of dream, of ability to positively look at the future and see more ability than disability? I spend so much time trying to heal the disability or wanting to understand what gets us into these disability states. And I often think, yeah, in order to really understand something, you have to live it. The shaman has to go through the ailments themselves and heal it within themselves. Then they can have the conviction. But is that a paradigm? Is that true? Okay, but if I'm going to have to go through it all myself, oh boy, okay, then I can say, if I'm going to go through it, I'm going to heal it also. So I shouldn't be so oh boy about it. But do I want to take that journey? Fuck no. Hell no. But to a degree, I am. And I have to be very, very, very aware how I use my free will. How far, if I want to know the temperature of water, I can put in a temperature meter and say, okay, but I don't have to touch the water. But that means I have to trust my thermometer. And other experiences, I will not know what that experience is like until I've made it. I have to put at least a foot into the water to know what water feels like. I have to put at least some chocolate in my mouth to know what chocolate tastes like. There are certain experiences I have to make myself, but how deep do I have to go into it? Oof. Okay. Now, we've dreamed, we've explored, we've betarized, we've alpharized, we've not theta or deltarized, but I encourage us to, I invite us to, I invite myself to. I wish us a beautiful, blue, radiant, center, command night this day. Inviting to dream. And I invite myself to find some solution in my dream time. And I can already see how the neurons that fire together wire together. I feel my neurological wiring taking me over there to that other Tatiana. I can see it happening. Breathe, be present, cosmic monkey. Presence, transcendence. What transcends? Now we've had the cosmic mirror in the wave swell of the world bridger, and the cosmic serpent in the wave swell of the skywalker, and the cosmic human in the wave swell of the sun, and the cosmic storm in the wave swell of the blue hand, and the cosmic death in the wave swell of the wizard, and the cosmic skywalker in the wave swell of the dragon. Can I call on all of them for help to transcend? Again, what transcend? I have to become. What do I want to become? Become to transcend into a version of myself. How is these polar opposites? How are they stabilizing me? How is my beta and my alpha and my delta and my theta stabilizing me? Balance. What is tomorrow? Rhythmic seed. Okay. Rhythmic balance. The rhythms of things. Okay. No, don't need to work this out here. We'll take this into my day and see how we go. All right. Aho.